Welcome to another episode of Creepy Stories. In today's episode, a haunted house across from a graveyard, then a story about a 7-year-old little boy living at a hotel with more than just his family, and lastly a story about a kind old great-grandmother that likes to stand as you enter a room. Alright, that great-grandma is already dead. My experience at my parents' house, by For Fox's Sakes. My parents live across the street from a graveyard, and we have always had unexplained things happen. The house was built in 1980, and my parents are the only owners. It's a 2-story, 4-bedroom house. All of the bedrooms are upstairs. I lived there all of my life until I was 19, 26 now. When I was in high school, my friends and I used to mess around and do seances. A couple of times, creepy things would happen, but for the most part, I thought it was all BS. One night, I had a horrible nightmare. Can't recall what it was about. It was 10 years ago. And I woke up and saw hands coming through my curtains. My friends have seen a little girl with dark hair in my room that rocks back and forth on the floor. I, however, have never seen her. My cousin also described seeing the same little girl to me before, only she described her as being Native American. My parents' house just has an overall weird feeling like you aren't alone. My dog at the time liked to sleep on the screen porch that's on the back of the house. My parents have a TV and some patio furniture out there. One night, my dog started freaking out and barking for an hour, and my dad let her inside the back porch and saw the TV and patio furniture stacked in the middle of the porch. I, unfortunately, got blamed for this and got in trouble. Since I moved out, my parents haven't noticed anything happening anymore. I still have weird experiences every now and then at my new house, but nothing like when I lived there. The second story. The Hotel Guy, by icdshadowbeast. Hi. This might be a bit long, but bear with me. I guess I should give some backstory before I start the story, just so it can be understood better. I was about 7 at the time of the incident. My dad had just achieved the manager position at a coastal motel in Oregon, so we moved. Before anything else, I need to describe how the entire place was laid out. To the right of the motel, there was a pretty small 3-bedroom, 1-bath apartment thingy. Hard to explain it further than that. In front of the motel was a paved area where guests could go from the main office to room or vice versa. Also, the main office and all other rooms face the parking lot, with most of the rooms having windows looking towards the coast. Now, with all that explained, let's begin. The first of the many things that occurred there is what I liked to call the Hotel Guy. In the words of the Doge, much cliche, such wow. Anyways, I was sitting in the main office with my dad while he was talking with some maids about salary and whatnot. I was bored and was looking around the room quite a lot, starting to look at a painting to my right. I shifted to the right and admired it for what I could say was 30 seconds. I would have kept watching, but what happened creeped me the F out. While looking at said painting, I saw someone across the window. The only thing I could describe was black. No, he wasn't an African American, but he was just solid black. Black top hat, black trench coat, black shoes, black everything. His appearance was not what startled me, though. What startled me was the fact he was walking right towards the apartment that contained my little sister and my mother. I'm trying not to be comedic here, but this is the best way I could describe it. I jumped in my seat and in midair turned to face the window, and in that 2 seconds I saw him. My dad asked what was wrong, and I just said that it was nothing. About 5 minutes had passed. I decided that I needed to save my family from this man or ghost or whatever. My 7-year-old brain must have thought I was Spider-Man. I walked out and towards my apartment and inspected everything. The maid quarters, the apartment, everywhere near my apartment. Nothing. Fast forward about a year. I am rushed into my room by my mom, and so is my sister. I'm just chilling alone, wondering what is going on, and I once again decide to shift my gaze. Looking over to the corner where my TV was, I instantly felt cold. I then saw, in complete contrast to the previously mentioned figure, a white thing. It walked on 2 legs and just walked into the wall in between me and my sister's room. I had to go make sure that she was okay, then I just came back to my room a bit shaken up. I was of course only 7. I later found out that it was our god-awful boss telling us my dad was fired. For what reason I cannot say. He was amazing at his job, but I digress. 5 years or so ago, I found out from my parents that they experienced some things themselves. Anything from my dad seeing figures in the parking lot on cameras, and then there not being anything out there when he looked himself, to there being a pink ball that randomly appeared and bounced down a set of stairs. Yeah, creepy stuff. But what really disturbs me is that my parents used to have to check on us all the time there. They would see kids running past their doors towards our rooms. Once they even saw something like what I saw in the office heading towards our rooms. Guests reported paranormal happenings in certain rooms, and one part of the maid's quarters was even described as evil by many guests and even my family. A couple guests thought that the owner, the previously mentioned god-awful boss, was a Satanist. My god, that place was a train wreck. To the city of Orford, let's not meet again. All About Living with My Grandparents by findmenowbitch. My immediate family hit on some hard times about 5 years ago, so we moved in with my father's parents for about 3 years. It is worth mentioning, I think, that my grandparents were the first owners of this house. I didn't like to leave my room at night. If I walked into the living room at night, there was a good chance I would see a woman all dressed in gray who would stand up when I walked in the room. I told my parents about it, and my dad said he knew she was there, and it was his grandmother. He had reoccurring dreams about her. My grandma likes to talk constantly about how she hates the color gray. Come to find out, her mother was buried in it. Sometimes at night, I would hear laughing outside my door, which was never explained. I'd also see a little boy in the hallway. When I asked my parents about it, they're pretty open about this sort of thing. My father told me that my grandma's line had a long history of abnormal amounts of child deaths. I never could find out who that little boy was, or even if he was connected to my family in any way. He was maybe 6 years old, and I called him Chris. My dad grew up in this house and has a very vivid memory of one of his friends coming over and turning white as a sheet and saying he saw a man standing behind my dad. My dad got out a photo album and his friend sorted through and pointed out the man. The man just so happened to be my dad's grandfather, the husband of the grandmother I mentioned above. However, I can't put any truth value to this as it was over 30 years ago and from a second-hand source. Lots of other things happened. I'm just so glad to be out of that house. If you like this video, hit the like button and share it with another like-minded friend just like you. If you want to know when more videos are coming, simply subscribe to this channel. If you have any of your own creepypastas or true horror stories, share in the comments below and you might just hear your story being read. I know you can pick any YouTuber to watch, so I just want to thank you for picking one of my videos. Hope it didn't scare you to death.